What's up, everybody? Welcome to today's video. In today's video, we are back with Superman and Lois Retrospectives, episode 10. We took a week off. Sometimes you need a breather, but we're back. This episode is entitled "Oh Mother, Where Art Thou?" This was another banger episode. Honestly, I forgot how good this episode is. Looking forward to next week, which is like one of the best of that season as well. But yeah,
Yep.
"Oh Mother, Where Art Thou?" This episode set a lot of things in motion, and from where I'm thinking about it, we talked about how last week was like, pushing forth like the back half,
Yeah,
getting done with the John Henry Irons,
yeah,
the Stranger stuff. But at the same
Yep.
time, this was like that middle ground that really pushed forward like the back half, that back narrative. I'm really excited to talk about it. We're back with Darren, we're back with Jake. How you guys doing today?
hello.
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. A lot better than a number of the subjects in this episode. That's for sure.
hmm
Yeah. A lot of them have had guns pulled out on them once they hit the pavement. But hey,
I mean, the
that's how
fact that
you
they
got to do it.
managed, the fact that they managed to survive hitting the pavement, I would
Yeah,
just take the win.
yeah. But before we go any further, if you are new here, please like, share, and subscribe. If you're returning, which most of you most likely are, like, share, and subscribe. Do the
Yeah.
same for all of our channels. They're either tagged in the title or in the description box down below. So do the right thing.
Hey, I love that movie.
But this episode, like I said, it was another banger. Just starting off from the beginning, it's picking up from where the last one left off. We get the huge reveal that that Morgan Edge is Tall Row. I love the attention to detail because we're wondering why, especially since we thought that, oh, this is the same Morgan Edge from the Arrowverse. He just looks
Supergirl,
different,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
he's British now. That was one of my biggest questions. Like, how did he just randomly become British? But Todd Helbing and his team, they paid so much attention to like the small, minute details. Him growing up in the British countryside, and not so much growing up, him being held in captivity. Like
Yeah, he like
his,
he
yeah,
was not raised by them, like he was not raised by a loving family. He was hunted for a long time. He was feared. He was, sought after, and that shows you the contrast between him and Clark. We see, Clark could have easily wound up like that had he not been found by a loving farmer couple, but thankfully he was found by the right people, and Tal unfortunately was not.
yeah, Darren.
um, mid. No, I was kidding. No, this is definitely a good. Definitely feels very mid-season premiere. Like I said last week was like it wasn't, but it felt like that like mid-season final is wrapping up all the stuff. This episode is kind of slowly introducing what the back half is going to look like, where we're going to end up, which is interesting because in some ways it kind of feels like it does kind of wrap up things in a sense. Like it kind of puts things what his main plan was doing. He did technically thwart it in this week's episode, which is very crazy to think about, and just what they were doing. And there's a lot of moving parts, and there's a lot of reveals that happen for Clark at the end of last week, and what we're doing with his heritage and what we're doing. And I like how this is like it definitely feels like a slow episode. And like I remember when this episode came out, people were like, oh, it's just filler, it's just slow, nothing
Yeah.
happens.
Oh,
But like it's a big character based episode and it lets
yeah.
these characters live and breathe. And I think that's kind of the I kind of think that's the strength of a show like this, where you don't need all these action set pieces, and I'm entertained the entire time. Like I'm hooked in on just these emotional beats for the characters, where sometimes you look at other CW shows and those beats don't hit as hard, and you're kind of just being like, all right, where's our fight scene? When's the
Right.
superpowers? When's the but like I could just sit and watch people talk for like 15 minutes and
Yeah.
I'm satisfied.
I mean, if you have content that's contributing to the plot, the character arcs, or the world building, or even all three in the case of this season for a lot of it, then that's good material right there. It doesn't have to do all three. Sometimes it can do one, two, or all of them, but this was definitely that episode where you were getting some plot growth. You were getting some world building too, because you got to hear, a little bit more of the Krypton side from, of course, the hologram of Jor-El. You got to
Yeah.
see Tal's perspective on things.
Yeah.
And as we'll get to later with the Lana stuff, you got to see that side of Krypton too, which was really cool.
Yeah.
But from a different perspective. So I liked how, even though you might think this is a slow episode, it kind of feels like a calm before the storm episode, if you want to call it. But even then, it's not as though this episode was, low stakes the entire time, because it definitely wasn't.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. It definitely was not. Another one of the things that I really liked in this episode was the stuff with the kids. The kids had a very, very
Yeah.
strong
Yeah.
storyline with Jonathan finally just being like, I'm basically so many words. I'm tired of all the lying.
It's like, screw the
And him
secrets.
just
Yeah.
keeping the secrets. Him just coming out and telling Sarah what's what,
Mm,
and seeing Jordan's apprehension to that because he didn't know how she would react.
yeah.
But at the end of the day, it worked out in his favor, because she's now thinking like, oh yeah, this is why you can't tell me such and such, such, such. This is why you're acting all weird.
Yep.
And I
Yeah.
like that. And the fact that he's like, man, we didn't have to tell her. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we
Yeah,
did. And the way he
yeah, they
stood
did.
up, the way he stood up to his grandfather, the way he stood up to
Yeah.
to that soldier that was guarding the
Great
tent
episode
that
for
Kyle was
Jonathan.
in.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, this was a great Jonathan episode. And I'm so glad that we're not staying with that we didn't stick with the whole salty Sarah thing, because I mean everybody knew something was off. But I have to give credit to the Kryptonian that was in Kyle's body, because he was playing the role of I'm still Kyle Cushing to a T. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
he told a lot of stuff. You lied to me. You
Yeah.
lied to me about the leadership program. You lied. And then when Lois came through that door, I said, "Oh, it's about to go
Yeah.
that." The way he choked, but
Just
she
the
was
switch.
just the
Yeah.
instant switch. The way the voice got deeper, I said, "Yeah, this is the stuff I missed. This is the stuff I remember."
Yeah. And
It's
Kyle's
really
been so
good.
much of a fuck up in the past that it didn't seem out of the norm at first whenever he
Yeah.
was taken over. So they probably just looked at it and went, "Oh, this is just a normal Kyle being an asshole." And then
Yeah.
you saw how that unfolded.
Yeah,
To add on to your Jonathan thing just really quickly, Lance. This is probably nothing. This is probably just in my head, but it does kind of work as some fun foreshadowing to what the show does in its final season. This kind of narrative that just sometimes secrets aren't the best course of action. Sometimes you just have to be upfront with people, which is what Clark ultimately does by the end of the show, and that seemed to really work in their favor and really turn Superman into what he was meant to be. I think Jonathan's always taken a lot from Clark. Jordan's always taken a lot from Lois. Jonathan's always been a lot from Clark. And I think Jonathan taking that proactive, no, we got to stop this shit. We cannot, we have to tell her what's going on. It's hurting her. We have to tell her. And I think you're right. That's such might be one of Jonathan's stronger episodes.
Yeah.
If I'm being
I
honest.
think so
definitely.
too.
It
I mean,
definitely is. It definitely is.
I mean, you see, where he stands up to Sam and to that soldier, there are points, especially whenever you're that age where, standing up to somebody like an authoritarian figure that's older than you can be a little bit apprehensive depending on who you are and what kind of, environment that you grew up around. So seeing, Jonathan essentially throw all that apprehension out the window and says, no, this is what needs to be done. Like, I just love those moments of his character. And, that doesn't mean he's a perfect character. He definitely has his flaws, but you just see, to touch onto your point there, and how he just cares so much for just people and wanting to do what's right, so much like Clark does.
Yeah.
Honestly, I respect that. I respect that
Yeah.
a lot. Jonathan, I could harp on Jonathan this episode, this whole recording. Jonathan literally had my favorite parts of this, but also if we could jump to with Lois and with Lana and with Superman and all of that stuff that happened with her basically letting Laura take over her body for that short period of time. I loved that.
Yeah, and I'll just say that I love that one sequence where Lana first comes in and she first sees Superman.
Yeah,
What I love so much about that is because
Yeah.
like we've been following Superman for like pretty much the majority of the show, and we're seeing him from someone else's eyes now,
Yeah.
and it's from a distance, and he just has this presence on screen where like
Yeah.
it's different than when he's the focus character and when he's the point of view character. But when Lana sees him and she just goes, he's here, like this is that big, this is that
Yeah.
important. I loved that little moment.
That
he's
like
so
shock. Yeah.
majestic in that in that shot from
Yeah,
like a distance. It's like,
It's
also, I never noticed how sharp like Tyler Hecklin's jawline is in this show. Like, am I glazing Tyler Hecklin right now?
yeah,
always
It's
maybe
worth
a
will.
it.
little.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
like
but
to like build on that a little bit, like I do think this is also another banger for Lana as well. Like this may
Oh yeah,
also be one
yeah,
of her better
yeah,
episodes, and once again showing, oh, I see why they went the mayor director for her in the back half of the
yeah,
show, and you see her willingness to, not that she doesn't make mistakes, because she has made these mistakes, and sometimes she goes down the wrong path, but it's like, how do I fix this? How can I better my family and also the people and potentially the whole world, and that like willingness to make that sacrifice to potentially end her life there to get her husband back and to get the people of Smallville. Beautiful moment, absolutely amazing moment. And then that moment when Clark has to go talk to her as, not as Clark, but as Superman, being like, what you're doing here, you are the true hero here today. It's like, oh man, what a fantastic scene.
yeah. I loved that Clark got to talk to his mom, and it was through the embodiment of somebody that he truly does love, that his
Mhm.
oldest friend, one of his closest friends. You just felt that connection. And Emmanuel Shikri, she did a wonderful job just
Yeah,
making Laura feel completely different than Lana. Like, I love that.
yeah,
I love the moment she had between Lois as well. Just even when it was like not even verbalized, the moments where they're just standing there and she puts her hand on his cheek, and he's just like,
yeah,
"Tell me about your family." Like, I
Yeah.
love that. I'm in that moment. I'm sitting there thinking like, can you multitask? Like,
yeah.
it's how we gotta get the ball rolling on this
I mean,
device. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, I really wish that we could have met Laura. And then
yeah,
lo and behold, next season, that's all we get. That's all we get is
yeah,
Laura. So in that moment, like watching this the
yeah,
first time, I'm like, I really want to meet this character. And
yeah,
honestly, the two different interpretations, it's kind of like, I think about this as like how it was with Tom Cavanaugh
Yeah.
and how it was with Matthew Letcher, and like the two different versions of
Yeah.
Eobard Thawne. They were different, but at the same time, they
yeah,
were the same. This
yeah,
one felt seamless. This one felt like the actress that played Laura went and studied what Emmanuel did, and she was like, "Let me pull this into my interpretation so I can portray this character
Yeah.
for these next 3 seasons." I
yeah,
loved every minute of that,
yeah.
even
And
the
you
stuff with
actually,
Lois.
and you got to see the Eradicator that she made initially for good intentions.
Yeah,
You get to see it used in a good way through her. Essentially, like they use it for what it was initially meant to be, kind of, but in order to actually figure out its purpose, they had to hear it from her directly. And I love that little
Yeah.
parallel. It's like, this was her machine, her creation. And they even say that throughout the episode where Jor-El's like, I don't know anything about this. And you finally see it used in not an evil or malicious way. And you
yeah,
get to hear her voice for the first time because of it.
yeah. I loved every single moment about those scenes, and I love how Clark wasn't too quick to rush to judgment, but he also wasn't too apprehensive, if I could put it that way. Like,
Yeah.
he immediately knew, like, I may only know your voice or whatever, but I know when you call my name. Like, I don't know you, but in this instance, like, it just feels right, if I could say it like that. And her explaining what was going on, like what was the purpose of the device, and that being juxtaposed against what he heard, like you said, what he heard from Jor-El and what he heard from Tall. Yeah, it's like Tall, you were just raised rotten. And, and
Yeah.
understandably so, because soon as you got out your pod, I mean, the first people that saw you was a old couple that's supposed to be like the exact opposite, of Mom Pa Kent. They just pull a gun on you,
and
and you killed them immediately. But
I think these are my favorite versions of the like evil Superman type, because I think, listen, I understand why people find the evil like Superman type interesting and fun. I understand that, but I think what they do here with both like the alternate Earth and Tel here is that they are able to do that kind of storyline while also showing why Superman is who he is and why he's so great. And you can tell that story while being like, yes, but this is the opposite side of that. This is why Superman is such a great hero. Because even to someone like that, like I think like there's scenes where like Tal kind of wants to see Clark's side. Like he's so good at like connecting with people. He's kind of like, well, maybe it's like no.
Yeah,
I
he's
want
like,
to do
why
my
do you
plan.
fight for them?
It's like he wants so badly to see his side, and he eventually does. Like it takes a while, but he does eventually kind of get there, and that's the power of Superman. And I think that's one of the better versions of the evil Superman that we've seen over these last couple of years. That's not just like, oh, it's alternate Superman and he kills people and there's that. But yeah, no, I think it was a good introduction to him, and like I think for the first time this season, like this was the moment where he was a good villain. Like I think up until this point, I was like, I could take him or leave him, right? Because he's just evil businessman, stereotype we see in every single thing, and then the switch happens, like, oh, he's not. Like he is obviously, but like there's more to him, and this has all kind of been a cover to who the character actually is, and now he has that depth to him. It's adding to that like Zod type that we've seen prior, but with that spin that I think works for this and to the show.
Oh yeah, and it definitely fit the version of these characters that they were making, and a lot of people, I've seen this complaint brought up. A lot of people just did not like the fact that Superman had a brother, because that, in their mind, it defeats the whole thing of him being the last son of Krypton. But I actually think it's more fascinating if he isn't, because then he has that other kind of character to bounce off of, and then you get to learn more about Krypton that way, which, that's part of why the dynamic between Clark and Kara in the Arrowverse was so interesting, because she, knew more about Krypton than he did, and then he knew more about Earth than she did. So it was like a way that you kind of mix those two.
There's that line this episode I really love where it's like, Clark, this is the only world that you've ever had to experience. You haven't seen a world be destroyed, and I'll do anything to get it back, and so will they. It's like, oh man, I get it. I think that line adds a lot to his character, because I was like, oh damn, I would also want to bring back my people. Like I would also want to bring back the world that I grew up on. Like I was like, oh, I kind of understand it, and I think a lot of adaptations of Zod kind of miss that aspect of it, because Zod's a very good villain. Obviously, I don't want to like dismantle that villain, but sometimes I think they go full on. He's evil and he's trying to take over, and like, why is he doing what he's doing? What is his POV like? I mean, again, I think they did a very good job at that here.
Because we don't really get to see as much of the POV, because we're focused on, oh, he's doing this bad thing, we have to stop it, and it never really stops to ask why.
Which within a movie you kind of have to, because you don't have a large time. They had 15 episodes to do this character, to build this character up into what he is, and then then I'm like, well, this is kind of the strength that a lot of those CW shows had comparatively to the movie side of things. These had time. They had time to grow. Now, sometimes that was a negative. Sure, I will not say it wasn't, but I think in this case it's a positive, and what they were able to do.
Yeah, I agree, because that's why I think that whenever you get to certain storylines that the show does, especially in its final season, that's why they can work a lot better in shows than in movies, because you get time to connect with those characters. So when the emotional moments hit, they actually feel earned instead of kind of ham-fisted.
I love ham-fisting stuff.
I bet you do.
Is it true that Darren auditioned to be Taro?
No, I auditioned to be Chrissy.
Oh,
Hey, we didn't see Chrissy in this episode.
no, we did
Well,
not.
she's not in every episode. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, she's not a series regular yet, right? Like, she's not a series regular.
Oh yeah, she was just a recurring character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where when you get to, especially season 3, it's insane how many series regulars they have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, was Chrissy the only?
No Chrissy, no John Irons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chrissy, John, and Nat were all upgraded to series regulars in season 2.
I mean, Nat, it makes sense because.
Well, yeah.
Nat
But like, I
came
just
in.
remember that like article being like, "Oh, these 3 actors have been added to a series regular," and like I saw that article before I saw the episode because I was on vacation when that episode dropped, and I saw that I was like, "What the hell?" Like what?
And I love those moments whenever Clark is talking to his mother through Lana, and he says. She's telling him, like, the one thing I wanted for you here was for you to find somebody to love and to be loved. And he goes, I had a mother here. I have a family here. And she goes, nothing makes me happier than that. And then she says, go be the hero that I knew you could be. It's like, I mean, even Superman needs moments like that, to continue to push him forward. And it's just those little moments that really make it.
Such a touching episode. I think we touched on everything in this episode.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Like that final fight scene is also fantastic when he's raced by like 100 Kryptonians, and like I think on paper that's hard to pull off because I'd be like, well, how does he beat 100 Kryptonians? And it's like, well, he's not necessarily, I guess, trying, right? Like all of these characters are new to their abilities. They're not as experienced as Clark would be, so he would be faster, he would be stronger, and he's not outright fighting them. He's out racing them and then using his abilities to do what he does. So I think
it was funny. It was funny when Tao was trying to tell him like, stop using the heat vision.
Because you see the look on Tao's face, he's like, oh crap.
He's like, stop, and they're still going out.
Yep. Then you get that beautiful shot at the end whenever he lands in front of the fortress. Setting up the next episode.
Bro, watching everything in this episode, like everything, like from where they meet it, and like I call it like the deserted wasteland or whatever. That looked amazing. When Clark flew up to like lead to get in front of the Kryptonians, that looked amazing. When he swooped in through the tent to grab the eradication device.
Yeah,
that looked amazing.
You just see the doors split open like this. And I love how he commands the room there. Like he goes in and then you see a lot of nameless soldiers piling in behind him, and he just goes, you're coming with us. But even though he commands the room, he still feels connected to the world.
Yeah.
And I feel like that hits a lot more with him saying you're coming with us as opposed to you're coming with me. Like that, it hits a lot more because it makes you feel like Superman is, in a sense, one of them.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, this episode, was another banger. But next week, I can't wait. I can't wait for that one.
I definitely haven't rewatched 90% of it.
Me either. I have not. But I think that is where we can call it for episode 10. Actually, were there any characters or moments that you wanted to see more of? Anything that you didn't like in particular? Real quick.
Nope.
I can't think of any. No. Why do you have any?
Nope, I was just checking with you guys because I thought
I wanted to see more Grant Gustin's Flash in this episode.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was underutilized this week.
Very underutilized. Very underutilized. But I do think that Superman looked very cute at certain points in the episode. He's very cute. When he hit that pose in the camera, he turned around. He's like, "You don't remember that?"
And also, I will say Dan Romer always nails it with the music in this show.
Dan
Yeah.
Rather.
If that's the name you want to use, sure.
You always know I gotta end it with some comedy. Yeah.
Do you?
See, now you're doing the Bully McGuire finger guns just to try and butter me up.
Butter you up like some buttered noodles. Yeah. Until next Saturday. This has been a fun Saturday afternoon recording. It's still daylight outside. It's 4 p.m. On a Saturday, on a Saturday afternoon, because we record this on Saturday right before we post it.
Yeah.
Because we don't lie about what day it is.
Bye.
No lies were told.
Wait, I'm gonna throw up the peace sign. Like, share, subscribe, become a channel member today. Admit that I'm pretty, and I'll catch you all next time.
This is the summer he turned pretty.
What's in your hand, Darren? Are those your AirPods?
Who?
And what was in your hand?
Oh, yeah.
So you have an iPhone?
I mean, these aren't AirPods, so they're just.
Can you end the recording?
But do you have an iPhone?
Yeah, I have an iPhone. Are we not done recording yet?